think we'll try to keep the calls down a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Live from the city of Erie, Pennsylvania, with your host, Kaz Kwiatkowski and John Steiner.
Gotta love that.
You are watching Taxpayer's Hotline.
They hit that sax.
How about
right.
that? See?
He hits that sax
That's
right at
a
the
DJ.
end.
DJ
Yeah.
from Colorado.
Yeah, that's DJ. That's a DJ Barker production, and the guy is
So we have, when we end the show, we have to go, this has been a DJ Barker production.
the guy's name that wrote it was Ken, and produced it was Kenny Fong was his name.
Ah,
Yeah.
local musician?
I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. Fong, he sounds Orientalish. Kenny Fong. So how you doing, Cass?
Good.
Cass, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
That's a good question. You don't got to get nervous.
Well, you always get good questions.
I was walking into the city hall.
Into the mall?
No, city hall.
Oh, City Hall.
Well,
okay.
I walked into the mall the other day too, but all the police cars are always left running outside.
Yeah.
Why is that?
That was brought up in the past. I don't know if it, bears fruit, but
Yeah.
they claim that to reboot the computers.
Reboot the computers.
Well, they got computers in the car.
Yeah, I know that.
So if you turn the car off, I think the system shuts down. And in general, they just found that it works better if they keep them moving. The system and everything.
Okay.
At least that's what they told council a number of years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I even brought it up when I was controller. I said, it seemed like a waste of, fuel.
Yeah.
They don't really get shut down long because they change shifts. Where people notice it more is like if you have a street sergeant,
Yeah, because I walked by, there were six cop cars sitting there running.
we got a meeting coming up with the chief, and I will definitely ask him once again.
I thought, I didn't even think about the computers. I was thinking maybe response time.
Well, that too. I mean,
Yeah.
in the Army, the vehicles have no keys.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, can you imagine being in a hot situation
How the hell do you start them?
and you lose your keys?
That's true. What, do you just push the button?
Kind of like that. I don't want to give anybody any ideas because if they come across one, they'll
Like-
figure it out though.
What are they going to break into the armory?
Well, we used to get break-ins.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The only thing we see by what we used to do is tie the steering wheel to the gas pedal with a chain,
Uh-huh.
so you couldn't.
So you couldn't steal it?
Yeah, when you went into town or on business
Okay.
and you had to park one of them, that's what you did.
Huh.
You secured the steering wheel to the gas pedal had a hole in it,
Okay.
or the brake pedal had a hole in it,
Yeah.
so you would put a chain to it.
Okay. No, I didn't know that.
That way, even if they did get it started,
You're like a wealth of knowledge.
oh, your father-in-law could have told you that.
Yeah, he could have told me that too. Yeah. He's in the army, yeah. So what's new, Kaz? What's going on in the city? Anything exciting these days?
Not really. Things are progressing slow.
No, yeah, as usual.
Well, things are.
What's new on council? Anything? What are you guys voting on these days?
Well, we had the natural vegetation ordinance, which I didn't.
Oh, well, there's a big hot topic.
Well, to some people it is.
I bet.
But coming down the line, we'll have some bigger issues like LERTA will be coming down.
Yeah. When are you gonna chase all the generous donators away? Are you guys in the process of doing that?
Chasing the what?
Chasing the generous people that donate money that don't want to be.
I voted for it.
You voted for what?
Taking it.
Yeah, well, you should have taken. But now, aren't people or certain persons pushing the envelope on finding out who donated the money and blah 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 blah?
Well, I think they're worried about.
I know what they're worried about.
Yeah,
But say it
and
anyway.
to tell you the truth, in all the years I've been in government,
No,
and I know no matter what, there's an old saying, John.
I get the old saying.
The saying goes, to those that believe, no proof is necessary.
Yeah,
To those that don't believe, no proof will suffice.
yeah, right.
So, I'm not going to sit here and tell you
There's
it
no
can't happen, but I've never, in my 20-some years,
Yeah,
have ever been approached and
right.
said that something was contingent upon something happening.
Listen, if there's something contingent to where there's something shady going
Yeah.
on, they're not gonna bring 100,000 to the council. It's not gonna be in the newspaper.
But even if it is, it's gotta be approved by council, anything that's exotic,
Yeah.
but, here we go.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, good morning there, gentlemen. Or afternoon, I mean.
Yeah, how are you?
Hey, question. Guys, with the parking authority getting a new board,
Yeah,
they considering going back to doing what they did years ago, had the, anybody ticketing cars outside of the downtown?
well, first of all, I don't even know, the mayor has not informed council or his liaison, which is me, about his appointments or how many appointments there's gonna be. The last I knew, and I found out the way everybody else did through word of mouth, was he was replacing the entire board. I don't know if that's the case, so I really can't comment on that. As for any decisions they make, that would come from them with maybe some urging from the mayor or council. Yeah, there's no reason, well, they do tag outside the downtown, as you know, but they only do like odd even parking in a few places.
Is it true that they only have one meter maid?
That's not-
They can't hire meter maids during the day.
They used to have more than that. I don't know, I'm not aware.
From what I heard, the numbers.
Doc, are you aware how many meter maids there are? You have any hooks down there yet?
Yeah, they had, remember they had 3 for downtown, the city. Remember they had one that went up the upper part,
Yeah,
the lower part, one in the center part. And then they had, 2 outer, extreme meter people, you know, did the outside the city up to, what was it, almost, well, Cherry Street extended up above there a little bit.
yeah.
Right
Well,
before,
when you and I worked there, they had 5 meter maids at least.
right,
And then years later, they had what they called the blue car and the red cars.
right.
And the blue cars, I can't remember which one was which, but one did the inner city, one did the outer city. And then they gradually stopped because they were finding out that some neighborhoods really didn't need to have constant meters, you know, maids. What we've talked to them about, and this is getting back to what you're bringing up, we have pushed them to take a look at some trouble spots like Briggs and Lewis around the college campus, some other spots where we're getting a lot of illegal parking. That's going to be discussed again, Doc, but I can't tell you that this board will go, I mean, that the board will go along with it, but if council wants it to happen, I'm sure we'll have to have some way, like in the past, where the city financially helped them to do it.
That's correct. It did help, but they don't forget they also allowed the like around St. Vincent's, the security people there also were given privilege of ticketing the vehicles that were parking in no parking areas too.
Sure, and that can be done by strictly, you know, anybody that hands out tickets has to be deputized by the chief, and you know that authorization can come, and you know we can do that, but I don't know what the new board's going to do. I don't even know who they are yet. I don't know how many of the old ones are going to stay,
That's
but I will bring it up to them.
It still scares me when with what, putting all new people
Well, what scares me
on
is the
all
fact
these
that
boards and stuff.
it happened. It wasn't. I as liaison was not given the courtesy to find that out. Council did not find it out. I got a phone call from a government official that happened to read it on Facebook. What do you call it? Facebook or face page?
Facebook.
Facebook, which I don't read,
Yeah,
and a lot of people don't read.
yeah.
And that's not a way to find out that you've been terminated or you might be terminated.
Yeah, right.
And it's hardly, you know, a good way of doing it.
Yeah. I heard they're short-staffed up there.
Where, at the parking authority?
Yeah. And
I'll
with
find
the
out.
meter, and
Well, I got a meeting, I think, tomorrow.
and they don't pay any of their workers anything, so you guys can't get.
Well, Richard and I can tell you they never paid high,
Yeah, I mean, so how?
but
how-
we never had trouble getting employees.
Well, I think they do now.
40.
I will find out tomorrow, because I think there's a meeting tomorrow if
Yeah.
let me double check.
Yeah, double check that.
I think there is one, and
They can't get employees because they don't, they pay like peanuts,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't, they don't give raises very often. And,
Yeah, I have a meeting tomorrow, so I can,
yeah. And then, so you don't get, you don't get good people. You don't get people that want to do it. I mean, it's an authority position. It should pay, I think it starts off at $10 an hour.
John, here's what you and Cass could probably look at doing. I think it's high time we start looking at these authorities and unifying their pay scales as well as control methods. I mean, we have the directors, and I'm not saying one board to cover them all, but I'm saying that we should put them on some kind of an even control system that people that work for either one get fairly compensational pay for what they do.
well, of all the authorities, they are, even their director, you know this from, as well as anybody, Rich, they are the lowest paid.
They are, I know that. But you know as I do that historically they originated out of the police department. They used to be the city police meter division.
Correct.
And so, and they run the same risk as some of the police officers, the way some of the people don't like being ticketed and they come out shooting at them. So,
No, I mean, I think they're highly underpaid. They put themselves, I've wanted to hurt them a couple times when they give me tickets. So I can only imagine, but you're irrational.
I heard the deputies at the courthouse don't even make that much.
but I tell you,
They
John,
got a raise.
they are protected by the same legal rights as police officers.
I know.
You attack one of them, just
Well,
the same
I'm
as
just
attacking a
joking.
police officer, and you would be prosecuted just the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just joking, but
I know.
a lot of people that they get, especially, with the boot, getting the boot and tickets, people get really angry about that.
I'll say with pride that I was under Whitey here, the operations manager, for a while, and I had to learn a lot about what he had, was able to originate, or get into origination of the how that place was structured, and he did a great job. I cannot.
Well, you should have been there. I was there about 5 years before you were. And there was a lot of history lessons that were sent down the pike real clear.
I wonder if don't you guys do you're on that, you're the liaison, right?
Yes.
Don't you guys do a pilot with the city? The parking authority always,
To do something
Yeah,
like
they get 500,000
every year to the city. Is
This
that
year was a little-
contracted or is that a
That was
pilot?
agreed upon contract.
But they didn't have to.
Well, the problem was when we instituted the parking tax,
Yeah,
by state law, they as an authority didn't have to.
right.
So we negotiated.
So they don't have to give the city
No,
the money.
this year we got a little bit less, so
So
I'm not
it-
happy that we took a little bit less because we count on that,
So in other words, if a new board could say, we're not giving the city that much money anymore.
Well, yes, but there are reasons why they participate willingly.
Yeah, there was reasons why, but now those reasons are gone.
Oh, no, they're still there.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to remember, every authority that we
Yeah.
authorize or we form,
Yeah, you have to.
hey, we better give some.
Yeah. Hey, Doc, we got to get other people calling. We got yelled at last week, so we got to give folks a call.
Bring up one other point.
Sure, go ahead.
Any other direction in collecting those expired tickets?
Yeah, we're gonna have a meeting here shortly, with the finance department, and we got it down to a couple finalists that we're working with, and we'll be having a decision made shortly hopefully before the end of the year.
Okay, when you're off the air, you can tell John how the mayor and I first got to know one another,
Oh, I told him that story.
Have you? All right.
You mean the one where you,
Yep.
yeah, okay. Thanks, Doc.
We don't want to put that one on the air.
I'll talk to you.
Thanks, Doc.
But getting back to, all authorities
Yeah,
that we form,
yeah,
we are responsible for each one of them.
for their debt.
Yes, if they go under.
Right,
So, we have to, what you call, sign off on their bond issues.
right.
And so that was the genesis of the contribution that's saying, okay, well, yeah, you don't have to give it to us, but maybe we'll fight you a little bit on the bond issues.
Right.
So, yeah, there are things still relevant.
Yeah, but with a new board.
Well,
Go ahead, caller.
remember who appoints them.
Yeah, I do.
Pardon?
Motorcycles.
I saw your little article in the paper, at least my mother told me about it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't even see it. But anyways, I would like to know who determines,
Yeah.
and do they go by hours or miles on the vehicles before they're replaced? I remember an old captain by the name of Staszewski.
Yeah.
He had his motorcycle, and it was like brand spanking new, and he said he never put very many hours on it.
Yeah, I don't know who makes the decision. I imagine that's between, what do you call it, the garage and the chief. But, I mean, I'm not in a position, I mean, if we had to expend funds all the time, you know, like well, with the cars, I can tell you this, some of them are short, we're gonna have to get some new cars.
Yeah, that's what I was worrying about. You know,
Well-
the cars are on the road 24/7.
Right, we know that, we were just told, the ways that we're gonna pay for the new cars. A couple are through insurance settlements, a couple are through bond issues, a couple are through contributions. Very little will come out of, you know, a little bit out of our capital budget, but I can't tell you, John, what the life is on a motorcycle. I don't know.
Probably years or more.
Huh?
I would say 20 years or more.
Last batch was bought, I think, early in Senate's career, and I think, what do you call it, he got some help from Representative Harkins. And well, we're gonna have a meeting with the chief, John, you know, next month. Mm-hmm. And I can ask him that question, you know.
But you know, $50,000 for they're going to have 5 motorcycles replaced at $100,000?
4 or 5.
Yeah, 4 or 5. But that's only part of the project or problems. You're going to have to put another $60,000 worth of equipment on those bikes.
Well, that's why when we buy a police car, you know, you buy the basic car, but then you gotta.
You have to outfit it.
Yeah, you have to sticker it, put, what do you call it,
Your
lights on
radios,
it.
your computers,
You gotta cop it up. You gotta cop it up.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
No. It's
And you know, you were talking about the police cars parking around the building down there, and they do it constantly. And to tell you that they have to reboot the computer is a fallacy.
Well, that's what they told us, John, whether it's true or not. I said, I
All they
don't
need is
know.
another backup, a battery, and they don't have to do that. And they know who's going to take the shift, and what is it a reboot on it? You can have multiple users on a vehicle. You know, number one is first shift, number 2 is second shift, number 3 is third shift. The computer has enough brains that if they realize another person is taking over.
I don't think people care if they turn it off when they're shifting.
No, the whole thing there is they're taking up the use parking places.
But when they go somewhere, like what used to bug me, they had this one guy that used to park in one of my neighbor's driveways.
Oh, I see that all the time here up in
Yeah, and he was in there for about an hour, and that bothered me. That bothered me because that's not only it's an hour with a car not being out there, but it's an hour of gas running for no reason.
Well, you know, just like sitting on private property and going out to ticket somebody. But I don't think the police can ever ticket anybody unless they're really oblivious to whatever's going on.
Yeah, they long ago they pretty much got out of the ticket business unless they're forced to.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? You might as well get a ticketing force out there other than the meter maids and get some revenue. Slow these people down. They're going to get
Well, I'm not sure, John. Parking tickets are one thing. I'm not sure what state law says about hiring people to take care of like moving violations.
No, I didn't say hire somebody.
Yeah.
Get a specific number of police officers. That is what they're to do primarily.
Well, usually if you do that, okay, my experience tells me you're pretty much telling them that to justify their job, they're going to have to make some hits. Like
No, I don't think so.
No, I mean, John has a good idea. I talked about this on the show many years, a couple
But think of
years
the old
ago.
motorcycles. What was their job?
Give traffic tickets.
And what justified them?
I don't know.
And the state police, same thing. They won't tell you there probably isn't a set
I wish-
quota, but you can bet your boots that when funding time comes around, right?
Yeah.
That's brought up.
I wish that we could have an ordinance department, a ordinance department underneath the police.
A
where
what?
Ordinance department. I mean, I just made that name up.
Yeah.
But what they would do is they would go around, traffic ordinances,
That.
grass. I know we have code enforcement, like loud music.
Yeah.
Just enforce ordinances, not.
Well, we used to have a traffic department when my dad was on the force.
Well, you should have used.
You remember them, John? They had white hats.
Well, we do now. We have the motorcycle police, but I'm talking others.
Well, yeah, but they're patrolmen in any other way when they're not on cycles. But you remember the traffic department, John?
Yes, I do.
Their job was strictly traffic control in downtown.
I remember
White
Texas John
hats.
Slaughter.
They had white hats.
Yep.
And their job was, in the days when downtown was busy,
Yeah.
their job was traffic control, downtown policing.
Yeah, we do that in the summertime, guys.
Around 12th and
Yeah, but
East
we had a whole
Avenue.
division. We had a whole division.
Oh,
John.
did they?
Yeah, right, John? We had a whole division.
Yes, you did.
I mean,
We had a guy in almost every corner, John.
you just enforce, like the noise ordinance alone in the summertime. You could bring. I mean, those people would pay for their. You don't want to give them salaries and benefits and all that. A part-time thing or not a. Well, you would have to. I don't know how you would structure
Well,
it.
the problem is that in this town right now with, you go up there and you tell somebody to turn it down and
They would be deputized.
we almost gonna have to have somebody that's a police officer.
Yeah, I mean, I wish they had somebody that just enforced ordinances, because the
Yes,
police.
there's a lot of them. Just like the curfew ordinance.
Yeah, that's another one.
Gone by the wayside too?
Yep, I don't know.
Well, John, it's not, I'm not gonna say, they can't do it at times, but, if you watch them on a normal night, they got a lot more things to worry about than they did when.
That's true, but if you have an ordinance on the book, you should enforce it.
Well, they would, but here's the problem. I used to have a lot of trouble with college kids. And I get noise complaints at my house from the people on 38th Street, 37th Street, the people on Pine Avenue, the people all through the east side. So I'd call down there, and I'd get, the sergeant would say to me, well, I'll get somebody out there as soon as I can, but I gotta be honest with you, we got guys on, this area, that area right now. And that's what we're up against. I mean,
I remember.
we don't have extra cops, and when if you got a choice between loud music and a shooting somewhere.
Yeah, you have to.
Oh, that's understandable.
Yeah, but it's getting to be the case a lot now.
But the whole thing here, the city's getting out of control, and this mayor we have, he has his own ideas, and at least to say, I think he's going to be a disaster. He has a 5-year plan. I don't think he's going to be going into the 5th year.
Well, look at this natural growth thing I voted against. I mean, John, you see how many weeds we got in fields, right?
Yeah.
They don't do anything about them now. We just put another ordinance on the book. What makes you think they're going to do another?
Another worthless.
Well, I know the city takes care of that
ink.
triangle up by me because I'm on their tail all the time.
But that's you, John. But
Yeah, we need an ordinance department that works with the police department that just goes out and enforces ordinance.
well, that's the theory about.
I know we have code enforcement,
But that's the theory
housing.
about why we deputize code enforcement people and the fire department to do, and electrical code guys and all
Yeah,
that.
but they're not out there citing people for
Well, they should.
ordinance
Well, we
violations.
gave them the tools now. We gave them here's the problem. We gave them they were yelling at us. Council gave them the quality of life ticketing program, which now gives them the right to ticket. And what did they tell us? They're not prepared to do it. They should have told us that way back in December, in November, when we were sitting here at the budget sessions.
Oh, no, that's a sleeping dead horse.
Well, yeah, but that's when we could have, if they were short of money to make the program work, this is where was the time and place to move funds around to make it happen. Because right now, I was at a neighborhood watch meeting, and they told the public that the programs are not ready to go.
True. One more thing.
Yeah.
It's about time time for potholes and road repair. Is the council going to take a group of people around and look at these roads, or are they going to take the word of some guy that has his road need repair, like State Street in front of the...
No, what usually happened in the past, and I don't, once again, this mayor is not very transparent, so I don't know what he's doing. The previous mayor had the traffic engineer, the streets department, the city engineer,
They would drive around.
and they went around along with the public works director
Yeah,
and made recommendations,
right.
tried to divide it up equally across both, east-west, and then approached council, and council was allowed to look at the list, and, if we thought it should be altered, we could. But if they do it that way, I don't know, John, I'll have to ask.
Why don't you think that list should be on the verge of repairing? And one more thing, what do we do with dial? 1-800-FIX potholes like the state, or do we just call streets department?
Well, I think that there is a number. I'll have to check if it's on the internet.
Isn't there a pothole hotline?
I think there is, and plus there's Moss too.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Moss Saylor, he's overworked, but at least he takes the calls.
but he can tell you who calls, when they call, and what has been done.
Yeah, he took a beating, and I want to go to his defense.
Does code enforcement take calls and document calls and know how they repaired them yet?
They do too, but basically a lot of people are calling Moss now,
Well, yeah.
and then they get mad if it doesn't get taken care of. But
Well, he will take care of the majority of them.
well, he can only turn them in. I mean, he's not the boss. He's not the mayor. He's not a department head. He turns them in. He turns them in again and again.
Isn't this what happened before? We had somebody like Moss, and then
That
everybody
was the Borgia girl.
they just abused her to the point where they didn't want to.
I'll get
Yeah.
off.
All right,
Okay.
thanks, John.
But I mean, Moss does his job. He took a beating on the radio one day,
Yeah.
and I think that was wrong.
Why would they give him a beating?
Well, because they said, I called him. They told the mayor on the air. I heard it. One of the few times I
Yeah.
get up that early.
Yeah.
And they said, I called down there twice and nothing happened. Well, you know what? I know Moss. I know the man. I sat there in his room when he took the calls.
I mean, all he does is take the calls. He's not going to go out.
He follows them up. He does follow them up.
Clean
The problem
garbage.
is, he can't go up to a department head or a mayor and say, do it.
Right.
He does press he does press his power a little bit.
Good.
But, he doesn't have he's not like, basically it comes down to one man. Okay?
Yeah.
In our form of government, it's the mayor. The buck stops on his desk.
I mean, you can't really. I mean, a situation like that.
But I mean, what you gotta tell your department heads is, it's my job, you work for me, and guess what? The buck stops on my desk, like, Harry Truman would say.
Yeah.
If you make me, it's like when I had deputies in my office.
Yeah.
It was me that ultimately was in charge.
Yeah.
You delegate, and if they don't do the job, then you gotta jump on them.
Right.
You gotta say, hey, you know what? When the public calls, let's make a good faith effort to get it done.
Yeah, but we did have that. We had that office before, and then people were just rude and just,
Well, yeah, that's the trouble, that when people call,
it got to be.
and even
more
on our show
hassle than it
sometimes,
was worth.
you don't get them at the best time of their life. They got they got an issue, or
Oh yeah.
yeah. So
Nobody calls here to say, "Oh hi, hey, hi." Everything's great.
I used to tell my entire office, I said, look, and I didn't have to because I had a good staff. Believe me when I tell you this.
Yeah.
And some of the girls down here with the same ones in the council office, same way, right?
Yeah.
They know that they're getting people at a bad time. They're not happy about something. So you try to bear with it and do the best you can.
Yeah.
I mean, when people call me, I know that they're, very few call you and say, hey, you know what? Everything's going good.
Yeah. Right. Nobody calls and says, "Hey, just want to say, you guys, I even got my garbage. The water's working great. I'm happy with plowing.
I mean,
You guys are doing a really good job."
well, you like that, but
Yeah. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
Oh, I'm calling about the city council meetings. I haven't watched the city council meetings for quite a while, but I have in the last few months.
You haven't missed much.
But my point is, there was two speakers at this last city council meeting. I could barely hear, barely understand, because you get a tall person and the microphone's down. It doesn't work. You get a short person and the microphone's way up. So, the one time I just got up and I got myself a snack because I had no idea what the person was talking about. Could be somebody keep an eye on that? Because
Yeah, was it the last meeting or was it 2 meetings before?
just the past meeting.
Okay, John can tell you this. Excuse me. I got a cold yet. We replaced the sound system recently, and it's 10 times better. The problem we have, and you're right, you tell people to, we motion them to pull the mic down. They don't talk into it properly, or they start talking to the crowd instead of talking to us through the mic. So yes, it becomes, you should be able to hear it better than we do, because it should go through the mic and through the board into your, so if you're having trouble, I will remind the president, to tell him to,
Yeah, correct.
please pull down the mic and talk into it.
Some people don't realize that a microphone, you don't have to scream into the microphone.
Yeah.
It makes it louder. That's the whole idea of the
Well-
microphone.
Well, those aren't the best down there.
I'm sure they're not.
The one over
These
here.
barely work.
The one over here is pretty good. So we know it, but the new board is taking care of a lot of the problems in the system.
Right, yeah. Are they still working on that?
I can feel it kicking back through here a little bit right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's working.
Are we coming in okay now, sir?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, ever since this whole left side where John and I sit,
Yeah.
about a month ago, this was out. And it was very bad, so the mics still aren't the best, but Mike in the back room there, Mike can pick it up pretty good now, and
The infamous Mike.
it's going out a lot better. But I will remind Jimmy, the president, to remind the people that people can't hear him easily.
Thank you. Just an idea. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Even I can't hear him up there, to tell you the truth sometimes.
Yeah. So maybe you may not want to. Thanks, caller.
But when a lot of people, I notice when they go like this,
Yeah.
they're
They're playing with the crowd.
Yeah.
The worst thing that ever happened to these meetings, that camera right there.
well, yeah.
Focusing in on people, trying to get there.
What TV is.
Yeah.
When I was on the school board, we used to shut the TV down when it got wild,
Yeah.
and that ended all the problems for a
Yeah.
while.
Well,
You want to televise,
yeah.
but people got to be respectful. That this is a public meeting, not a.
Well, you would get a couple of the guys that would just come in here and just berate you guys.
If they want to wait till after the meeting
Yeah.
and take a piece of any of our hides, that's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
that's their privilege. But during the meeting, it's a public meeting.
The stuff that was going on here was ridiculous. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Okay, hey, John, I just called back. That fellow had an interesting point about the not being able to hear. Do you think you could have somebody maybe stand by the podium to adjust the microphone to each speaker? That way you don't have the problem of trying to figure out how to handle that, because not everybody knows how to talk before a microphone.
Well, usually the president, he can just tell them, "Would you please pull the mic down?" And at times when I was controller and I sat in that table, I could tell, and I would walk over, or
People,
I'd remind them to pull it down, or
in their defense, people get nervous when they're like, public speaking.
yeah.
That's like the number one fear of people.
I guess just a general reminder when they come up is just say, please, adjust the mic.
Yeah.
Please talk into the mic,
Well,
not
Council,
talk to the crowd.
who's president now?
Jimmy Winarski.
And Jimmy should tell him.
Well, we did actually, when Mike was fixing the board, we
We're very clear
made
right
a,
now,
we made
and
a I made a comment to him.
to pick up the city council meetings, because I don't know if they're, wouldn't you put them on the air the time that they're being put on?
What was that?
When do you have the city council over the air? The same time they're being happening?
We'd have to ask Mike what time how often do they air them?
Yeah, in other words, if I wanted to see what last city council meeting was like.
If you go on the internet, though, they have a schedule.
Well, you know something funny. I didn't get the channel. We've been talking about. So what I had to do was I called Spectrum.
Did they fix it?
Well, so I try. They try to do it from the Spectrum house, wherever they're at.
Their headquarters.
Their headquarters, and then so what they ended up having to do was send its technician
I
out
told you that's what they'll do.
to check my box. So, nope, box is good. Well, we're gonna try the wire in your house to see if it's the wire in your house. Oh, nope, not the wire in your house. So we're gonna have to put a wire from the pole. I sat there for 2 hours.
Did they finally
It's
fix it?
done, it's working. But, and I was watching the government channel, there's crap on it. There's nothing on it, but this and maybe a commercial about Erie and city council meetings. Well, why do we not use this channel more? I don't know.
Well, there is a schedule on,
Yeah, this is on at, I think 2 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then sometime in the morning, like 6 or 7, one of those two, and then the council meetings.
oh, got hung up, I guess.
Mike, let us know what time the council meetings are, and just because.
Go ahead, caller.
Don, I had a laugh when you were talking about the cable company coming out.
Yeah.
Had a guy come on Saturday. He was here for over an hour.
I know. I just went from, and I'm like, you can get a technician out there today. I'm like, today?
That's unusual. Usually
I know. I almost
I
fell
have
out.
to wait 2 days usually.
Yeah, I'm like, today? Okay, all right, yeah. So he's like, they just got to check the
I
box.
couldn't get channel 1024.
Did they fix it finally?
Yes, they did.
Did they have to change your wiring?
Yes, they did.
See,
Yeah.
there's something going on ever since they switched
Yeah, they
from
can't
Time
handle.
Warner. Yeah, they're
I don't think that the cables that are currently going into most of the people's houses that are having the problems can I don't know if it's the band. I'm not an electronic.
but they're moving the
like
bandwidth around so they get more, I think, internet.
Yeah.
He changed the wires down cellar.
Yeah, he did mine too, sir. He said that they were old wires, and he took my splitters out. Because I had a couple TVs that I didn't use anymore. So he said that was bleeding the system too.
I went from rebooting it, just unplugging it, to calling them, to almost a new box, new cable in my
Yeah.
room, and a new cable from my house out to the telephone pole. And it took about 2 hours, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, if I would have known this, I would have just went without the channel.
Are some of the local channels cut out at night now? I mean, cut out there, and
Yeah,
they go black. Yeah,
really.
it's just strange. Like you'd be watching,
A lot of people complain about Spectrum. They get a lot of complaints I see on social media.
I just think ever since they moved from Time Warner to Spectrum, I think they've had problems.
I don't know if you people know this, but on your hand remote, go to the setting button, and you can press a reboot cycle.
Oh, there is?
You don't have to get up out of your chair.
Oh, what's it say on there? Just,
You have to scroll down. There's about 4 or 5 options.
it's in the menu like.
Yeah, you press the setting button, left-hand side.
Well, you know what? I like that because if I have to go into my cabinet, pull it out,
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 options. Boot rebox, boot receiver.
I tell you, those technicians, they must be really pumping a lot of new wiring around town,
Yep. Okay, that's all I got to say.
Hey, thanks.
That is funny though, because I was there for two hours.
They do a good job, though.
Yeah, here's the schedule.
You got it?
Yeah. The city council meetings, they replay them during the weekdays, Monday through Friday, at 1 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock at night. And for some reason, they only play them at 7 o'clock at night on Sunday, Monday, Friday, and Saturday. And then Tuesdays are on at 9 a.m. and Tuesday and Saturday 9.
I think they try to go for different times so that,
Yeah, but they're consistent 1 o'clock in the morning while
how
everybody's.
about the weekends? They play movies?
They're sleeping. While everybody's sleeping, everybody's sleeping. It's consistent. On the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, it's consistently at 7 o'clock at night. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 7 o'clock at night. Then Tuesday and Thursday, Tuesday at 9 in the morning, but 1 o'clock at night. So your best bet is to catch it if you want to watch it prime time. in the morning on Tuesday and Saturday, or in the evening, Sunday, Monday, or Friday.
And I think on the internet, you can watch anytime you want,
Oh,
right?
you can go on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's on YouTube. Like if you put in Erie City Council meetings or Taxpayers Hotline.
I think that's when you go on the city website, it's right
Yeah.
through YouTube.
Well, that's what you go on the city's website, you click on City Council, and then you scroll down,
And you get the dates.
and then you click on the very bottom, you click on that, and then you'll see YouTube and then our other feed. So you hit the YouTube one, and then your picture, me and you sitting here, comes up, and they'll have some of the latest city council meetings. So hopefully that's of assistance to the last caller. Thanks, Mike, for producing this thing. I don't know why they just don't keep it consistent. It's not like,
Well, I think they try to get various times because people complain
no, I
about.
get about that. I get that, but why wouldn't you play it Saturday? I mean, so on Tuesday night, instead of the council meeting, we have Lake Journal, we have The Sounds of Summer, and Capital Connection. And then we have the House Republican, Sounds of Summer. What is Sounds of Summer? You're supposed to know that.
I don't watch.
I don't either. Well, I do now. I finally got
I'm
it better.
starting to work out more now.
Work out what? Where, at the club? Oh,
Open iron.
really?
No, not that way, but I mean,
12-ounce curls?
I'm just getting back in
We
shape.
gotta go to Planet Fitness. You gotta come to the Planet
The way
Fitness.
things are going, I might be,
You're gonna get ripped.
I might be kicking field goals again.
You could get a six-pack.
Can you imagine a 70-year-old field goal kicker?
I think, how old was Luke Gross? Wasn't he like,
He wasn't that old.
no, like
50s.
50s?
Ben Agajanian was maybe the oldest one.
How old was he?
Or George Blanda. They were
George Blanda. He had
close
gray
to the
hair.
60s, yeah.
Well, that's the schedule. I mean, what time's this show on? I'm pretty sure. 2 o'clock. Oh my God. Yeah, 2 o'clock every day. And 11 o'clock every day. And 5 a.m. every day.
I gotta get a piece of candy. My throat is killing me.
All right, grab me one too, wait.
Sure.
Head to the store and grab us some Hershey's and Milky Ways. I thought you were going to the gym and you're like going to get candy. I see the gun show from here. Hurry up, these guys, they miss you. So ours is consistent, but city council meetings, they're like all over the map. I wish we could do some other shows on here. Some of the stuff, like most of the time when I watch the channel, there's like, not even watch it, I just like scroll by it and there's not really nothing on it. So, and with that being said, now that Kaz is gone, we can talk about him. What else is going on in the city? People are out passing out petitions. It's that time of the year. Actually, they have to be turned in, I think tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. And, so hopefully we get some good candidates running for different. I hear a lot of names being bannered about, so we'll see what happens. You talking to everybody back? What kind of candy you got?
I had to get like a pop drop.
That ain't candy.
For you, John, anything.
You get Hershey's. I love it. I love it. See, what do you like? What's your favorite? If you had to go to, when you go to walk into the store and you want a little candy bar or something, what do you like? What do you grab? What are you reaching for?
My two favorites of all time?
Uh-huh.
The Planters Peanut.
Okay.
Planters Peanut, peanut brittle.
Okay.
Second to none.
Is that the name of it?
Well, it's just, they used to call it the peanut bar,
Okay.
They had peanuts covered in this, sugar glaze like.
Uh-huh.
But of all the peanut brittles, that was the best one. And then, I guess one of my other favorites would be root beer barrels and Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh yeah, those are good too.
Yeah, nothing like that.
No, Reese's are good. I saw one of your city employees walking by here. I don't know if you know her story or not. Her name's Andrea Blythe is her
Yeah, about her brother.
name. I
I've
don't know
known
if
her a long time.
a lot of people don't know, but I think her brother had serious kidney issues. And she, of course, donated her kidney to him. I think it's very courageous, whether it's a family member or anybody, You give one
She's
to
got
yeah,
a lot of fortitude to do that.
absolutely. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, one last question. John, Cass, that farmer's market that's being set up down there in the Renaissance building,
Being where?
is it in the Renaissance building or nearby it? The farmer's market that's held on State Street now?
I forget what the name of the building is, the one they just opened though.
Right.
Yeah, that's the one where Spagel's in there and a few other, Stanganelli's rather.
Okay, do you have to get a city permit to be to set up in a farmer's market, or is that an open to the public?
There'd have to be some
Well,
type.
somebody would have, excuse me, it's cold as killing me. I'd have to ask David Rocco. That's a unique situation. The building itself would have to, meet the criteria.
Well, I'm sure it has to be inspected too by
The health department would definitely come in. But I would think, that's probably something we need to look at. You know what? I gotta see David after this show. How about the new farmer's market?
see what.
Like I can tell you, the guy that's outside in the street, he pays. Okay? Doc?
I understand. Yeah, you have them down on Perry.
But I wondered if we ever did like a food court, that'd be an interesting question. I don't think we've ever had one where we had to think about it. But I know they're planning 2 farmer market concepts. Now, whether they do one in a bus station, nobody knows for sure, whether that's one store or many. But I know at the GF site, they have talked about a farmer's market. So that's probably something we gotta look at. Maybe, you'd have to get like an individual permit.
Didn't they just open a produce store up the street?
Well, that's the one I think he's talking about. Isn't that what you're talking about, Rich?
That's the one that they just had talked about.
Yeah, the one where Stanganelli's is in there and they got fresh
I
produce.
haven't been in, I knew it opened, but I haven't actually been in there.
I was curious as to how that's being regulated.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you the truth, Doc, you brought it up to me and I don't have an answer. Normally, we don't have a business fee for businesses. Now, we do for outdoor businesses or easements outside, but we don't charge merchants a business tax. And I don't know if we're allowed to, but that is something interesting about whether, if we start going into concepts where we have individual vendors, like subletting, like perfect example would have been the old, the building down there by Hammett, what do you call it, Marketplace?
Right.
The Modern Tool. That would be another one that lend itself to that. I think that's something we gotta look at, Rich.
The other thing is, the Avalon, they opened up their new eating area for breakfasts now, I guess, something.
Yeah, and they're gonna be, they said they're gonna be the DoubleTree now.
Right, and they're going to try to set up outside the sidewalk. So I hope you're monitoring the.
Well, if they go outside, they'll have to buy, all we ask right now under the present, ordinance is that, if you go outside, you first have to get a permission from the city to, you have to get an easement, which we have no charge for that. We only ask that you put the city on your insurance plan and you indemnify, I guess, against any damages, loss, or problems that would avail from that. But that is something that council's looking at in the future.
Well, I hope they also consider that, they need to have at least about a 5-foot wide.
Oh yeah, that's why we do it. The city engineer on any easement has to look at it from the aspect of ADA compliance, whether there's enough room to get people through there. And that's when we only grant it upon his okay, and that fact that he looks at. Then, like I said, the only other thing is we demand that they put us in their insurance policy, so that we're covered against anything that happens.
Like when I use the white cane has a 2.5 to 3 foot sweep. Mm-hmm. So if there's only 3 feet distance between the meter and the shares, that narrows down my ability to know where I'm going, because I'm going to be walking into things or tripping over things.
Are you having any trouble right now downtown?
Once in a while, I walk into the shares.
I mean, well, what you should do is, take note of who they are.
Well, the other area down there is on
If you
State
get-
Street, right between 4th and 3rd. 4th and 3rd. By 4th Street, there is that one that they have that elevated seating area. That narrows down too. I can walk into that, which fortunately I can't text to.
Is that the one where they sell the beer place?
This would be on the east side of this State Street.
Yeah, isn't that the U-Pick 6 or whatever they call it, or the?
What they call it there. I know
The
they
tap
used to sit
house
out there
or-
and eat, but it does narrow down the area for me to go past.
Well, they're given parameters how far they go. Now, some businesses push it out a little bit.
Right.
So the only way we're gonna know about it is if we get complaints.
But just keep tab of it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a minimum of 5 feet.
Well, we really don't have anybody that goes around so that, we go by, if we get complaints, which we sometimes do, then we can act to them. So if you have any, I would tell you, Doc, amongst your crowd there, the people that you're with, if they have any complaints, make sure they call them into like the Moss or somebody so that we find out about them, or, call a councilman so we can react properly. We can check it out. Because they are given dimensions of where they can go and what they can do.
Right.
Sometimes they do cheat,
I'm sure there's state regulations or state standards on those too.
Just ADA, that's all the engineer goes by, is what the ADA compliance is.
Well, the only, they used to have it, which the people with disabilities would have the people from city council or the mayor and all that.
Yeah, but they go around with them one day a year.
Yeah, one day a year they go around
They
and
haven't had
see
that in
the
a long time.
obstacles that the city presents for those people with disabilities.
And they haven't done that in a long time. That'd be, it's probably something they should do again.
Well, one of the areas that not many people realize, those control boxes on the light poles,
Yeah.
like that, they are at the height where somebody can work at them, but the person with a white cane does not detect them. And you walk into them, you smack your face right into them because you're elevated at the height of their face. So you'll see a blind person wearing a cap with a brim on it, so that brim detects that early.
Yeah, but if you're a fast walker, you might hit it anyway, right?
Right. Well, the suggestion was made, and I don't think it was followed up properly, is put the wastebasket right underneath that area so that when they hit the wastebasket, they won't walk into it.
I heard the mayor's gonna, at least he told council, one of the few things he has told us, that he's reinstituting his disability committee, I think, right?
I hope so. I hope he does. Well,
And if he does, I think there's the perfect spot for, for people like you to, for us that walk around with no impediment, we don't see the problem.
okay, well, do me a favor sometime. I don't want to type the phone. Do me a favor. Give me a call. You got my number.
Yeah.
Go out for a cup of coffee, something, so we can sit and talk and rather than type the phone here. You, John,
Well, if you're downtown,
I'll
I'll meet you over at Starbucks with John here.
I'll do that, whatever.
Or better yet, we'll go to that, what's that new place? The one the girl opened up?
Okay, God bless.
Thanks.
Yeah, we'll go to that one.
Dave's Diner. Dave's Diner's nice too.
Couple, huh?
Dave's Diner.
Yeah, a couple, we'll just, I see his problem, and we don't see it,
Yeah.
And I think, if you have a committee
Yeah.
that meets with the mayor, I think, things like, you wouldn't think of that, but yeah, a basket underneath there would probably, what he's talking about. He's talking about those boxes, like where they set the traffic lights.
Okay.
They're attached to the pole.
Yeah.
But they stick out in the sidewalk.
Right.
For you and I.
Oh, I see.
It's not a big issue, because we see it and we move over.
Right.
We had, somebody very prominent pop themselves out one time. and it can happen if you're not paying attention or you're on your cell phone. But for somebody like Doc that's, legally blind, you walk into one of them and it'll rattle your teeth,
Yeah.
So I mean,
I know what you're talking.
And
There's one on that. There's one on that pole right there on the corner, isn't there?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So it does make sense if you, kind of put like a, what do you call it, a wastebasket underneath?
Yeah. Right. That would make sense.
Or when you mount these things, try to consider, where you're putting them,
Yeah, right. That would make sense. I'm ready for some warm weather, Cass. I'm tired of cold weather.
John, it's all downhill from here. We
Oh.
still have the one mythical, St. Patrick's Day snowstorm.
I'm sick.
You know, I say mythical because it could be anywhere within
Yeah, right.
2.5 weeks of St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, right. I'm so sick of it.
But think about it this way, John. The boys of summer are warming up in Arizona
I
and
know,
Florida.
I know.
It's around the corner, John.
I know. Couple weeks.
Yeah. We'll be having baseball in Erie and,
When is opening day for Indians? You know?
I thought my mother said the end of the month.
Is it March or April?
Either that or,
April 1st is the latest.
yeah, so I mean,
That's 2 weeks.
you know what, all things are,
Yeah.
when I was a kid and you started playing ball, it was like, that was the start of the good days.
I used to love Little League and playing and
The first few days cold and damp, but getting that ball, move around, throwing the arm a little bit.
I used to play in the Anthony Wayne League and the
I was a Gridley guy.
West Sider.
Yeah, we
We kicked their butts.
you didn't kick ours.
Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller.
I had a question about this coming up election. Is there two city council seats open?
No, there's 3, I think. There's Sonia Harrington,
Mel.
Mel, and Bobby Mursky.
Oh, yeah, Bobby Mirsky's seat was open.
Yeah.
I see. Is there any other city employees?
City what?
Like controller or
No,
whatever?
the treasurer.
Treasurer.
Yeah, because the controller and treasurer alternate every 2 years. Yeah, they alternate every 2 years. Council goes 3 and 4, and the mayor runs with the controller. That's how it's always been set up.
Oh,
But yeah, we, I don't know who's gonna run for re-election to council. I've heard rumors, but there'll probably be, depending, probably be at least a couple of seats open.
do
But,
you have
until-
any idea how many petitions were taken out?
Well, there've been a lot taken out, but it all depends who turns them back in.
And there's times where people go get petitions and don't sign them out.
So there's about 20, to my knowledge, I heard, the last figure I heard, I don't know how reliable it was in the neighborhood of about 20-some.
Oh, egad.
Well, it was wild when I ran last time 2 years ago.
Remember?
I can remember how many lines, in the old days, we would have had about 3 lines on the voting machine.
Right. Well, you remember, I just found out that the Democratic Party has sent out a questionnaire to city council candidates, and because they're like this, when we ran, there were so many people on the ballot that really shouldn't be on the ballot, but they're going to question them. They send out a questionnaire to see, what they know about the city and the finances and ideas and
Well, I tell a lot of people when you run for
a
office,
platform, some things that most voters don't even care about.
you're still there, right, sir?
Yes.
What I tell people, if you're gonna run for office, know what you're allowed to do. Because a lot of people, they come up to me and they go, why don't you do this, why don't you do that, why don't you tax hotels?
Yeah.
Why don't you get rid of the nonprofits? And I go, there's such a thing as the state constitution that prevents us. So if you think you're gonna come up here and turn things around, 360 degrees,
Yeah.
you might be a little surprised what you can and can't do.
Right.
But
Wouldn't it be 180?
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
360 is when you go around in a circle, you come back where you were.
That's true.
But, no, I wish them all luck, but a lot of times people take them out, then they find out,
1 minute.
there's a lot of work into
People
running.
don't realize what a pain in the neck it is to actually run for a public
Well,
office.
you got all the paperwork, the docs.
Just the paperwork alone, just to get on the ballot, is a pain. I think that's the biggest pain out of all of them.
Well, it is intimidating when you first do it,
Yeah.
and you find out,
If you don't know, and then you get thrown off the ballot. if you-
forming a committee so you can legally collect money, and
Yeah, you have to Yeah, you have to get a treasurer, you have to have a chairman, I think.
You got ethics report.
Yeah, you have the ethics report, you have financial documentation, you need 100 valid signatures that need to be validated by a notary. It begins to get a little hectic. Now, if you run for a city council, you need 100 Democrat, if you're a Democrat or Republican.
In Mill Creek, you only need 10.
Is it really?
Yeah.
In Mill Creek, county council person,
I mean, 25?
10.
10. There you go.
That is a joke.
Well, yeah, you can just, 10, I can walk down the block probably.
But anybody,
Hopefully 10 people like me down my block, but
anybody that runs for a county office, you have to get 250.
yeah, I think when, the
So-
one time I ran for a county controller,
Yeah.
was 250,
So you, school board and judge
100.
are 100
On both
each,
sides.
and you can cross file. So with that being
But-
said, oh, there's a but.
Yeah, the but is, like a district justice and a judge can actually carry both petitions with them.
Oh, really?
But a school board candidate, the opposite party of that which they
Yeah.
are, they must have
Somebody,
a,
I know
they must
that.
have a person circulating it
I know
of that
that.
party.
Yeah, I know that well.
All these little nuances.
There's always a little catch. So, Kaz, I truly believe that we are out of time.
And I want to thank Mike
Mike,
in the
Mike,
back room.
Mike popped that schedule out so quick.
He's good.
He is.
And we want to thank DJ back there in Colorado.
And DJ's probably watching. Sometimes he tunes in. We need to get his thoughts about the legalization of marijuana and what's
Hey,
going on in Colorado.
You know, speaking of which, I have a guest coming on, hopefully.
Sweet.
You know, both of us can question him.
Yeah.
He's, if I can line it up with him, he's going to be the local representative for the census.
Oh, good.
And I had a talk with him at one of the COG meetings,
Good.
and
Who is it?
I got his name, and he was on the news, and I said, you know, if you,
What's
if,
his name?
well, I don't have, well,
Oh, I thought it was somebody we knew already.
no, he's from, you know, he's shipped here.
Oh, he's not from here. I
No,
see.
and I told him, I said, you know, if you need a forum,
Yeah. Oh, for
he
sure.
agreed to, you know, try to work his schedule.
Yeah.
I said, because, you know, one of the big things we're gonna have to do is make sure everybody understands that we need an accurate account. And know, you know, to the best of our ability, we don't think, you know, immigration is coming after you and all that.
Right.
But, you know, he acknowledged some of the fears that are out there.
Yeah.
But we need, the city, much more than the county, needs an accurate count.
What? Before we go off the air, what percentage of our population is immigrants?
The mayor claims about 29%,
Almost 30%.
but that's many, whatever you call a minority, whether that's women included, all that. Like the African American population used to be about 11%, I think. But I think overall, when you count the new immigrants and everything, probably in the 20s.
Yeah.
But that's why it's all very important that, look, what we're worried about is that when we get the 100,000 mark, that opens up a lot of opportunities for us to get funding.
How much?
I don't know, John.
I wish.
That's the barometer, they say.
What I want, before we go off the air, what I wish I knew was how do you weigh the $100,000 mark financially?
You mean the 100,000 person?
I'm sorry, 100,000 population compared to what revenue we bring in
John,
that costs the taxpayers. Revenue versus cost.
John, we can't even tell you from year to year what our CDBG funding's gonna be.
Because of the population?
No, because of what's going on in Washington. So they changed the rules, but I do
So
know this.
our-
You wanna be a major player at all times.
So our CDBG funding
Mm-hmm.
directly correlates to our total population.
Well, I would say it does, because when the government has a pool of money, okay,
Is that what,
They're-
is that how they say, oh, well, they have this population, they get this amount?
well, they would probably make assumptions like Philadelphia at 1 million people has more problems than we do.
Yeah, well, they would get
280.
more, I understand they would get more, but what I wanna know is, does the money that we get from having that more immigrants, is it cost effective to continue to bring them in as to where it benefits us, or does it hurt us when it comes to
Well, you have no
tax?
choice about bringing them in. They've been sent here, so.
Well, other cities, I mean, you can only do so much, can't you? I mean, I don't know.
That's a topic for another day. We'll have to get somebody on here with us.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good topic. I mean,
We'll have to find somebody we think can.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just trying to correlate.
All I know is that when you look at the city, when it's 100,000, you're a major player. You start going in lower numbers and you start to become a minor
leagues.
player.
You become the Erie Seawolves.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for calling. Hit the music, Mike.
And of all our shows, this has been the most recent.
Yeah.
How about that one?
You have been watching Taxpayers Hotline, recorded live from the fabulous city of Erie, Pennsylvania.